this happens.
What do you think it is, Drunvalo? Why is it that there's a certain group of people, call it the Illuminati or whatever, why is it that they have a vested interest in maintaining a static point in our evolutionary strain or consciousness?
You know, I've researched that. To answer that question really specifically, I've really tried to answer that, and I've found myself 3 times in the presence of members of the Illuminati. A couple times I didn't really want to, but that's what happened. And in my discussions with one of these people, basically they just don't care about us.
Right.
They don't have any emotional body. They don't care or have feelings of love or anything else like that. And they're just using us, and they have their own agenda, really a completely separate agenda than us, and they just use us. They have 85% of all the money in all the banks of the world. And there's 300 families.
Yeah, there might be something behind the biological thing too, because I heard Bruce Lipton talking once, and he was saying that it looks like, it appears like about 6% of the global population are genetically incapable of feeling compassion and empathy.
Well, they have made it. I mean, these people came from Mars, and they were part of the last attempt to create a separate reality. This one we say it's Lucifer Rebellion, we call it, but there's been 3 other times before that this has happened, and the Martians were part of the last one, and that's what destroyed their planet. Was their lack of love for each other. They basically had a planetary war that destroyed the outer atmosphere and all the oceans and everything. Their planet was, and I wrote about this as far back as 1998, that Mars was just like the Earth, because this is Thoth telling me this. He says it had oceans, it had water, it was plants and diversity, and it was beautiful. And they just killed that place. And they were just one of about 80,000 other planets that died because of that, because of the trying to separate out the emotional body, the female side, and just heading on with the male side. Yeah. And so they trying to escape their problem that they had there. That's when they came to the Earth, and they came in from a long time ago.
Did they come here in their macabre?
They came here in actually spaceships, yeah, based on Merkaba science, and Mars was destroyed a little less than 1 million years ago, and they came forward into the future and arrived on Earth. I'm guessing roughly 65, 70,000 years ago, and they've been in, and they did it illegally. When you do something like that, you have to get permission from galactic. There's a particular area of the galactic center that you have to have permission to do these kinds of things, because it's illegal to do that. And they came in without any permission. They arrived at the same time that the Jews arrived here, who were also not human. They were from another area, and they were coming from the future, not from the past, but not very far in the future, only about 800 years. We talked about that in the book, saying, with about 2 sentences, just saying that the Jews came in here with permission, and what had happened is they had misunderstood one tiny little piece of spiritual information as they were developing on a different planet, and now 800 years into the future, when they were ready to expand and really become everything. They couldn't do it because of this lack of understanding, and they got permission to come here and redo it all over again. And I said it was like a 5th grader doing the 5th grade again, and that's what they were doing. But and so the Martians and the Jews hate each other, because both of those are advanced races, and the Martians could have just taken us over easily, except that the Jews stopped it because they knew what they could see what they were doing, and so there's been this low grade and sometimes not so low grade war going on between those two consciousness for a long time.
That explains a whole lot, actually. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know this, but they won't tell you this, but they do know the situation. I mean, even the Torah The Torah was sent back with the group that came from the future back here was sent with a book, the Torah, and they didn't. Where they were 800 years in the future, they didn't need the Torah. They wrote that book for them coming here, linking in the past, but they brought it in at 65 or 70,000 years ago when they linked in with us, and they were told don't change one letter in that book because it's a computer program and you can't do that.
Right.
And which we understand now. We wouldn't even be able to understand that, 30 years ago. That wouldn't even make sense. And but they did change it. They changed it dramatically, and so dramatically over time that it was worthless. And so it was given back to them in, I think it was 1250 BC or whenever it was when Moses supposedly was given that, but he was also given this other book, which was supposedly from God, but from what we know, that wasn't from God. It was from them in the future, and to this date they have not changed a letter. The book is absolutely flawless, and what it was is in that book is an Akashic record of everything from the beginning of creation until about 800 years in the future. And so they knew that in there were 19 locations that they had to make changes for themselves on this other planetary thing in the future to be able to make the change that would allow them to continue to grow. And I actually tracked through two of these. I was involved in two of these changes. And they're global, huge global changes that would affect everybody on Earth, and we're passing through these things. Some of them are invisible, and some of them are visible. But we've got to be down close to the end. I mean, I don't know where we're at, but once we get to the 19th one, that's when everything takes place. And I think we're right there. We're probably down to either 18 or 19 right now.
I've been interviewing a lot of the people on Ancient Aliens about the Anunnakis and all that. What do you think about that whole part of our history, the Anunnakis and the fact that they might be back and all this with Nibiru? And
they have a few people here. They were our mother. They were the ones that created our particular DNA of humankind, and the father was the Syrians. From Sirius, and from Sirius B, third planet out, and those two, they were the external part, like the male aspect, and the Anunnaki or the Nephilim were the female part that created it. And if you look at the Sumerian records that are very old, these records, and talking about things that are even much older, millions of years going back. This is some of the greatest information that we've ever had.
Yes.
And science is not taking this seriously enough. It's just amazing information that was given there. But all I can tell you is right now is that the mother aspect of it was not very evolved. They were almost exactly where we are right now. That was our mother. Our father was way more advanced than the mother, and the father aspect is the one that will be the first ones to step in front of us and begin to protect us, and they're already here. They're all over this earth, and they're inside the earth, just waiting. They're sleeping in these glass chambers, and when the time is right, the Father will come out here and protect us. And who they're really protecting us against is the primary thing is the reptiles. The reptiles just will not give this up. They've been trying to destroy us for a long time.
Yeah, they're real territorial, you might say.
Yeah.
Do you think with all the? I think that every time a planet is discovered, it